Tell me, have you ever experienced lying in bed, unable to fall asleep, it's 4 a.m., and suddenly a thought comes with a question? What does Stalin's granddaughter look like now? Or, for example, Einstein's grandson? So, to spare you from such thoughts, let's find out what the descendants of famous personalities look like. Cresce Evans, Stalin's granddaughter. She is the daughter of Svetlana Alliluyeva, Stalin's only daughter. At birth, she was named Olga Peters, but later became Cresce Evans to avoid unnecessary attention. Stalin's granddaughter lives in the United States, in the state of Oregon. She doesn't speak Russian. Moreover, for a long time she couldn't understand why her family attracted so much paparazzi attention. Only in her teenage years did Cresce learn who her grandfather was. In one interview, when asked about her attitude towards the Stalin name, she replied, "Stalin is not a surname but a Bolshevik pseudonym. My family, the Djugashvilis, are Russians with Georgian roots. I think I inherited a certain sense of Russian melancholy and sadness from them." She also added, "Setting aside the history books' truths, lies, and disputes, I would say that what affected me the most was the cruelty of my grandfather and grandmother towards their children. Although I don't have children, I believe that parents are obligated to care for their offspring and think about their future." Una Chaplain, Charlie Chaplin's granddaughter. The granddaughter of the great comedian Charlie Chaplin has excelled more in the dramatic field. Una has already appeared in more than 34 films. Today, most viewers know her for the role of Talisa Mager, Robb Stark's wife in the series Game of Thrones. For the keen-eyed, she might have been noticed in an episode of the series Sherlock, where Una played one of Watson's girlfriends. By the way, Charlie Chaplin also has a grandson, James Tibiere. He followed in the footsteps of his great-grandparent. James is known today as a talented acrobat, mime, musician, actor, and director. His parents are Dot Chaplin, Victoria, and Jean-Baptiste Thierry. Boriss Yeltsin's grandson. The first president of Russia has 6 grandchildren. The first one is Boris Borisovich Yeltsin. The man owns a network of private kindergartens and was involved in building a ski resort, but he never obtained higher education. According to the media, Yeltsin's grandson still hasn't started a family. Alison Laborges, Alain Delon's granddaughter. The granddaughter of the heartthrob of the 60s, Alain Delon, is not aiming to become a movie actress yet, but is already quite popular in the modeling business and shamelessly poses in lingerie. Although she has only 2 roles in her resume, a tiny one in the TV movie Blue Island, and a more serious one in the film Neon Angel, but in the lead role. Benjamin Presley, Elvis Presley's grandson. When fans shout that Elvis is alive, they probably just saw a photo of his grandson, the star musician Benjamin, a copy of his famous grandfather. Like his ancestor, the guy is into music. He hasn't achieved the same success as Elvis yet. It's hard to surpass the king, especially when most people pay attention not to Benjamin's talent, but to his resemblance to the star. Also, Elvis has a granddaughter, Riley Keough, the eldest granddaughter of the king of rock and roll and his Priscilla spouse. Riley followed in her mother's footsteps and chose an acting career. Currently, Riley has an episodic role in the film Mad Max Fury Road and a nomination for a Golden Globe for her work in the series The Girlfriend Experience. Dre Hemingway, Ernest Hemingway's great-granddaughter. Dre Hemingway is not just a bearer of a surname known to every school student. At the age of 27, Ernest Hemingway's great-granddaughter is famous more as a model and aspiring actress. By the way, things are going quite well for Dre in the modeling industry. She collaborates with major fashion houses such as Chanel, Gucci, Valentino, Calvin Klein, and others. Dakota Johnson, Tippy Hedren's granddaughter. Many remember this girl thanks to her role in the scandalous 50 Shades of Grey. Perhaps the audacity for such a project is inherited from her grandmother. In her time, Tippy gained fame as a fatal blonde, at least thanks to the image created in Hitchcock's thriller The Birds. Shawn and Julian Lennon, John Lennon's sons. The sons of the most famous Beatle, John Lennon, both proudly continued their star father's legacy and dedicated their lives to music. Julian, the elder son, made his debut in 1984, and his first album topped all American charts for a long time. Julian Hollister is most proud of his voice, almost identical to his father's. John Lennon's second son with Yoko Ono, Shawn, inherited a colorful appearance from his father. Shawn is also a musician and a fan of experimental music. Louisa Victoria Tolstoy, Leo Tolstoy's granddaughter. Victoria Tolstoy is a well-known jazz diva in Sweden, but autograph seekers for this blonde beauty are not only jazz lovers, but also admirers of her great-grandfather Leo Tolstoy's talent. The girl hasn't read any of Tolstoy's works, but without knowing Russian, she learned to pronounce War and Peace, Anna Karenina, and Yasnaya Polyana. The girl decided not to change her famous surname, she just asks not to decline it. Ola Guevara, Che Guevara's daughter. Ola Guevara carries her mother's name and her famous father's surname. The daughter of Cuban revolutionary Che Guevara follows in her father's footsteps and actively participates in the political life of her country. Oleta, like Che Guevara, is a member of the Communist Party and fights for human rights in Cuba. Besides, Ola Guevara is a well-known pediatrician actively involved in the issues of disabled children and infants from troubled families. Matthew Freud, Sigmund Freud's great-grandson. The father of psychoanalysis, the great Freud, had the greatest happiness in his life, a large family. Sigmund Freud and his wife Martha had 6 children, 4 grandchildren, and currently, there are already 4 great-grandchildren of this great man on earth. One of them is Matthew Freud, the owner of the largest consulting company in England. More than his business, Freud's great-grandson is known for his contribution to charity work, especially programs to help needy countries in Africa and the protection of children's rights. Moreover, Matthew Freud is a happy husband and father. Paloma Picasso, Pablo Picasso's daughter. The daughter of the artist Pablo Picasso, Paloma, became famous worldwide no less than her famous father. The woman is a leading accessories designer for the globally renowned Tiffany jewelry house. Besides, Paloma Picasso gained scandalous fame for her role in the film Immoral Story. Bernard Cesar Einstein, Albert Einstein's grandson. Einstein, one of the founders of modern theoretical physics, probably doesn't need an introduction. His contribution to science is invaluable. Einstein's grandson, Bernard Cesar, followed in his grandfather's footsteps. He studies quantum physics and loves music, just like his great ancestor. Bernard worked at U.S. Defense Enterprises, where he improved night vision devices and researched laser technologies. Chris Pine, Anne Gwynn's grandson. Chris Pine is a successful Hollywood actor and the grandson of the pin-up icon of the 40s, Anne Gwynn. Anne gained fame for her roles in horror films and was recognized as the Scream Queen, one of those vintage film beauties who piercingly scream when various monsters approach. Chris studied at the prestigious University of California, Berkeley, and holds a bachelor's degree in English. In his filmography, there are more than 30 works, but he gained loud popularity and fan recognition after starring in the Star Trek franchise. That's all for today. Don't forget to give this video a like, and of course, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching. Bye.